This is the regular meeting of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders held on Wednesday, July 26, 2017, 6 p.m. Not called to order by the director. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Crab. Here. Freeholder Graham.
Here.
Freeholder Patillo. Here. Freeholder Rose.
Present.
Freeholder Director Lazaro.
Present. We have a moment of silence and salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975, adequate notice as defined by Section 3D of Chapter 231 PL 1975 has been made by regular mail. Such notice being submitted on July 20th, 2017 from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, to the following: the New Jersey Herald, the New Jersey Sunday Herald, WSUS Radio, WNNJ Radio, and the Star Ledger. And it is also posted on the bulletin board maintained in the Administrative Center for Public Announcements and has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act. Can I have a motion for the approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion for that.
I have a motion by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
You okay? I can see clearly now.
Executive session.
Put it back on.
Resolution providing for an executive closed session not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12 et sec. Whereas the subject matter about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of Chosen Freeholders and an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, and whereas it appears necessary for the Board of Chosen Freeholders to discuss such matters in executive session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B and NJSA 10:4-13, that the Board at this time enter into an executive session from which the public shall be excluded. And be it further resolved that the general nature of the subjects to be discussed relate to the following items authorized by NJSA 10:4-12B as designated below: matters relating to litigation, negotiations, and the attorney's client privilege, specifically communication center agreements. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders or provided by law, that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. And be it further resolved that upon completion of the business for which the board has entered into executive session, the board shall reconvene and resume its meeting open to the public. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Freeholder Patillo to go into executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Rose. Is there discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. We are in executive session.
We can hold it here, right? We can close this.
I have a motion to come out of executive session.
Because they look like these, because they do look like these.
Motion by Freeholder Patillo and a second by Deputy Freeholder, Deputy Director Rose. Is there a second? Yes. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All right, we're out of executive session. We're back in the regular session. All right, proclamations and certificates. Proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of Corona Farms. I did that last week at Corona Farms anniversary dinner. It was quite an event. There were over 700 people there, and chefs from all over the world, and the food was wonderful. Proclamation was very quietly presented. Proclamation recognizing Ethan Billings earning the rank of Eagle Scout. Jonathan will be presenting that at his event. Proclamation recognizing the first anniversary of the CLEAR program and its successes and challenges moving forward. George can handle that. That will be at the hospital tomorrow morning. Public hearings have none. Public session from the floor. Motion to open public, what, in this? Oh, okay. And a motion to approve the proclamations.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Freeholder Rose, second Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Public session from the floor. Can I have a motion to open public session from the floor?
Motion open.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Freeholder Graham, second Freeholder Rose. Please note, everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes or less and only address issues regarding agenda items. Please state your name, spell your last name, and state your municipal residency. Public session is open from the floor. Anybody wish to speak?
Moment to get that going.
I think I drew the short straw.
Stand up.
So to speak.
My name is Kathy Nauta, and I live in Sparta. I am here about the resolution about stopping the stigma of mental health. My daughter is here today with me, and she's also going to speak. And we have been in this arena for about 12 years with her mental health concerns. And I would say where we have dealt with it is mostly in the school system. And a lot of it has to do with lack of awareness, lack of education, people afraid to talk about it. And I find that when you get one-on-one with people, it's a whole different story. There's always somebody, their mother, their brother, their son, their daughter. It opens up communications when you get in that personal relationship, but with a larger group, it's not me. Not me, not my family. I would say over the past 12 years, I have seen a positive change. My daughter and I have been to Washington, D.C. 5 years in a row with ACAP. Meeting with our representatives and senators and their legislative aides. And we have seen some progress in the knowledge and education of those aides, and the representatives and senators are definitely more willing to speak with us. I noticed that at the school system level as well. Myself, Jerry Doherty, and Dr. Deborah Costa, some years speaking to the Sparta Public Schools at the faculty meetings and speaking with teachers and administrators about how best to enlighten the teachers to try and treat all kids the same. I just want to say one more thing. I don't know how much time I have. What I find with mental health is, as we all know, it's an invisible illness, right? There's no oxygen tank, there's no crutches. So when you see a child or an adult which appears to be acting out, they look like a spoiled brat, they look like they're having a fit, they look like they can't control their temper, we have to take the time to step back and realize that there's usually a lot more going on than that. That could be that person throwing their sweatshirt on the sidewalk could be OCD. That person screaming, "I hate people," in the escalator in the New York subway station could be OCD. So we all have to take the time to realize what looks like everyday angers and frustrations and irritability sometimes go deeper than that. And mental illness doesn't always look like what we think it looks like. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. Might as well.
Sure, go ahead.
That's fine.
Hello, my name is Christy Farber. I'm a resident of Lafayette, New Jersey, and I spell my last name Farber. I wanted to thank you all for giving such notice and passing this resolution in support of the Campaign to Change Direction initiative. I just wanted to talk a little bit about stigma, which is I think we know something that brings shame to a person because there are negative things associated with it. And with mental illness, I almost can't even fathom, I don't even know how to digest how insidious it is with mental illness. And I wanted to talk about, my experiences with mental illness in terms of a very, very special person to me, but decided that I should really speak for myself because I am a consumer of mental health services. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression for a long time, and I've noticed that that's a tough thing to live with. It doesn't make me any less valued as a person. I am very fortunate in that I can access services and medications to help my mental health illness. And in that way, it's kind of hard to say, but I am just so thankful. The thing that's tough is there's not a whole lot of acknowledgement sometimes about what somebody with a mental illness goes through. And as severity goes, I suppose mine is very well managed. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that to me. But I know from speaking to people that are very close to me that it's hard to acknowledge. One person I really love says, "You don't have a mental illness." And I said, no, I really, really do. I really do. And it affects me greatly. Another family member of mine says that she would never go see a mental health practitioner because that would be a horrible black mark on her employment record, which is kind of sad because it's kind of self-perpetuating. We know that mental illness runs in families. It can be a genetic thing, it can be caused by a disease, it can be caused by a traumatic event or triggered by a traumatic event or some type of substance. But it kind of blows my mind that it's just such a tough thing to deal with in general. When we think about the physical health, healthcare is in a horrible state right now, I believe. But what I wanted to mention is that, I was looking up some statistics, and I think there are about 100, I don't know, it's probably old statistics, but about 140,000 residents of Sussex County, is that?
43.
143?
Give or take.
Okay, so if we figure that 1 in 5 people have a mental illness, some type of mental illness, then, let's see, then that would mean that approximately 28,000 people in the county would really need some type of mental health services, whether it's counseling or psychiatric services, something. Again, I feel very fortunate. I have health insurance, which I was considering changing, but I'm not sure. But so many people don't. I don't really know where these people are going to go. So I think, for services, we have a real crisis in terms of lack of available providers, and then with the lack of transportation, which I'm sure you are all very well aware of. I don't know how people are going to get to those people who don't exist nearby. It's a real crisis if you think about it. I feel like if I did not have the support I have, both with the agencies in this county, which are amazing, my health insurance, and the fact that I really do have a loving family that supports me, I honestly wonder if I could get up and be able to speak to you. I just wanted to thank you, though. I think the need to address stigma is critical, and I know that if you search not too far, in terms of your own family and friends, you'll probably know somebody who suffers with the same thing. I mean, it's a hard time, it's a hard thing to get up here and admit, because you feel that other people devalue you. That's not true, because you can still hold a job and do all kinds of things as long as your illness, like any other illness, is managed. But I was looking up this change direction thing, which is part of this resolution, and I think it's a great idea. It's a great start, and wanted to thank you all for paying a lot of attention to this, because it's, like I said, I believe it's very necessary, and thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take tickets, we'll give out tickets.
I'm always last.
Good evening, my name is Lauren Hurtis, Hirtes, and I'm a Newton resident. Just very briefly, I'll tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm a mental health professional for about 20 years, and I am a volunteer on the Mental Health and Substance Abuse Advisory Board's Advocacy Subcommittee, the county's board. I'm a past member of the board and also past chair. So I come from that perspective as a mental health professional and a volunteer who's very involved in our county. But I also come to, most importantly, as a mother of a child, an adult child with mental illness. So I see the issue of stigma and mental illness and mental health from both sides. And it's kind of different the way it plays out, depending on which hat I'm wearing. But the thing that stays the same is stigma. And I think that this body tonight, your consideration of this resolution for the Champions for Change direction is a great step, and I applaud you for doing it. It's so needed. It's devastating, the effects of stigma on persons suffering from mental illness. And so this really puts Sussex County at the forefront. We're doing something ahead of time. We're really being cutting edge here, guys and ladies. And so for that, I'm thankful. I'd like to just, again, thank you for that, and to pledge my support in whatever way that I can be helpful. Want to do that always. And I just want you to feel as though, tonight that you've done something, you don't do it every night or every time we meet, you don't do something great, but tonight really made a difference and a step forward towards breaking that stigma, which will allow people to hopefully access services and get the help they need much quicker, much sooner, and in a much more healthy way. So thank you.
Good evening. Bill Gibbs, Water, New Jersey. I don't like to make assumptions, but I'm assuming you're going to pass the stigma resolution tonight. And Councilwoman Quinn brought us to our council 3 months ago, and 2 months ago we started our program. And I'm really looking forward to working with you to try to do it right. We're both going to be on a learning curve for the stigma program. And we can do it, and whatever you can do to help us, and we can help you. Like I said, we just started. We were the first city or town in Sussex County to have a stigma program, and we're learning. So, congratulations. I hope you pass it, and I hope we can work together and really help out. That's what the whole thing is, that we all help each other and do it right. Thank you.
Rita Smith, SMITH, and I'm from Hardiston. First, I will let you know that stigma is very far-reaching, and I see it from two different sides. First, I see it as an education advocate. I go in and I represent children in the public schools, and my heart is in the cases where we see children with behavioral disabilities and mental health conditions. And those are the children that I have started representing, and most of those cases are my pro bono cases, because those are the families that are mostly in chaos and crisis most of the time. And you will see that those families live quietly with lack of service, and are ashamed to share with their public schools what is going on in their home. And their schools, most of the time, are incapable of being able to diagnose what's going on and address them properly because there's a lack of education, and we are not aware of what the symptoms are many times of mental illness or mental health conditions, and how to address it, where to get services, and how to pursue putting appropriate educational programming and support services together for these children. So from an educational standpoint, we need to reduce the stigma in the public schools by making sure that those who are employed in them, our staff, are properly educated on what mental health is, so that they know how to address the youth that come through there, and that the staff is able to handle the responsibility they have, because it's very difficult for them as well. So that is one of the biggest things that I see on a regular basis, and how crippling that is for many families. I spend my time volunteering on multiple different county initiatives. I have the privilege of being involved with NAMI and sitting on county council, running a special education parent advisory group where I do parent education, and we bring in specialists to talk about this. Also, I've had the privilege of working with Suzanne on the Youth Support Advocacy Group, where we're looking, asking you to, work with us on making sure there's school-based youth services so that we can address these needs in the schools. But this all came out of being a mom. My most important client was my own child. I had to advocate for a little girl who's only in middle school student now, who had very serious mental health conditions. Conditions that took her out of her own school and put her in hospital. And she's had to learn to reintegrate. And it was important for me for her to be part of her community. And it was important for her to be part of the community. And the biggest obstacle that I saw as a mom was no one knows how to work with children like that. They don't, they look at these children as if there's something wrong with them. They treat them either with kid gloves, or they don't know how to work with them at all. It is very painful to watch your child cry all the time about what is wrong with me, and I can't share this with people. If my child had a medical condition, she'd feel free to be able to share this information. I have to counsel her on what she can and can't say to people, but why should she be ashamed? She has a biologically based medical disease, and yet she can't share with people that she has a mental illness openly and freely, because she will be ridiculed and talked about, and quite possibly be the victim of bullying if she does. So she has to learn to be a good self-advocate, which we set her up to do. She has to receive services all the time, and she has to be very cautious. So thank you so much for looking at this. It would be so important if we could continue to advance our county in a way where we can make sure that everyone can feel safe and free and feel supported, and not live under the fear of being ridiculed or looked at differently, and understand that we're all just wired a little bit differently sometimes. Thank you so much.
I'm Alexandra Nora, and I'm 18 in Florida. So I'm a 19-year-old Philippine student. I'm a psychology major and a business major, so the way I'm a bit stigmas, I follow the money. So in the United States, the U.S. government donates $30 billion to healthcare, and only 1.6 of that $1 billion goes to mental health. But that doesn't make sense, considering 20% of Americans have a mental health condition. So by that logic, it should be $6 billion. So right there is proof financially that we have stigma. And I also personally don't exist because I had to transfer from school to school growing up, from being bullied and all this stuff, from things that my OCD caused me to do. And I think that I clearly did realize there was a stigma was in about 8th grade, when I was pulled out of school for about a month for OCD treatment. At the same time, a mutual friend was pulled out of school for having Crohn's disease. And she was getting support from the school, the teachers, her friends, and people looked at me like nothing happened. And I was going through just as much, arguably, if not more, than she was going through. So that was extremely hard for me as a kid to deal with. And just wonder, like, what's wrong with you? Should I And I mean, Sussex County is a small start, but it's the start to stopping the stigma. I mean, personally, I've started a jewelry business to stop the stigma. With each piece of jewelry sold, 10% of the proceeds goes to the Regional Research Foundation. I was recently featured on Fox 61, and I then realized I wasn't alone. I had people that I've never even met messaging me on Facebook because they found my Facebook to thank me and to say how much my story helped them with what they're going through. I mean, that's what we need. If more people reach out and share what they're going through, they will personally realize they're not alone, and other people will realize they're not alone. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Cameron Maxenbrook, Mastenbrook. I'm a high school student in Harveston. And my little sister has a mental illness. That being said, I know what it's like to live in a household with someone who has a serious mental illness, and there are definitely many rough days. On those rough days, my instinct is to go to someone and talk about it to help myself. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially at school, because if I'm not feeling well that day and it's because maybe I have a cold, I can tell them I have a cold and I know they'll understand, but I find it a lot harder to go up to someone and say, my sister's having a rough day because she has a mental illness. One of my really good friends, who I'm still very close to, when I first told her that my sister had a mental illness, her first questions, her main reaction was, is she harmful to anybody in your family? Has she ever harmed herself? Has she tried to kill you? Are you scared to be in the same room as her? And I said no. Unfortunately, there are very serious mental illnesses, and some of them have those behaviors, which is unfortunate. Hers, however, is not the same as those. But I still find that even though what she has is very serious, I'm not allowed to say anything to anyone because I'm afraid of what their reaction might be. They might judge me, they might spread it around the school because rumors spread very quickly. And once one little thing like that becomes a huge thing, everyone starts making assumptions of I'm not safe in my house and my sister shouldn't be trusted. And then she loses friends and it's just hard for the whole family. I remember when my little sister had to go to the hospital because of her illness. I really wanted to talk to my friends about it. One person that I told automatically assumed that I was not safe around her and I shouldn't live in the same house as her. She told a lot of people, and they started saying rude things about my sister that it just wasn't fair to her or anybody else in my family to have to listen to. I think that if that schools educate people about mental illness and really let everyone know what it's about and that there are many different types of it, it would be a lot easier and it would mean a lot to people like me and my family, and no one here with my mom, if we could feel less ashamed to tell people and we wouldn't be scared to allow people to know what's going on. Thank you.
I'm the director of the Student Center at Sussex Tech High School and founder and member of the Youth Support Task Force. I am pleased to be here this evening to show my support to the Freeholder Board as they recognize the need and demonstrate dedication towards efforts in reducing the stigma surrounding receiving mental health care.
It is important that we all make an effort to do so, but when it comes from the top, from recognized leaders in the community, it provides guidance and needed role modeling for the rest of us to follow. I see firsthand in my work at Sussex Tech High School the impact and value that having access to good mental health care plays on the successes of our youth and their families. It is a difference between good grades and not so good grades, between being happy and content and feeling discontented, between being able to get out of bed and not being able to face the day, between staying in school and dropping out. It is sometimes even the difference between life and death. Sussex County is not immune to many cases of mental illness. I know each of us in this room can recall a time when we observed someone struggling to be socially acceptable, a time when someone's behavior has gotten them into trouble. We certainly know or suspect people in our own families or circle of friends that seem like they might be able to benefit from professional help. We cannot ignore the growing trend of drug use because it is splashed across our local news fairly consistently. Many times those individuals suffer with an underlying mental health issue that clouds their judgment or makes getting through the day too painful without their drug of choice. The impact that self-medication has on that individual is obvious. What about the impact it has on their family and friends, their colleagues and employers? Mental illness has tentacles in the classroom, robbing affected students of an education, and has probably distracted the other students from their education too. Those same tentacles create tension at family gatherings, suck funds from our judicial system, and put our youth at potential risk when we consider some of the unthinkable things that happen in our schools across our country. However, mental illness is not always so stark. For some, it is the anxiety that keeps them from performing optimally at their jobs, or the depressive patterns of thinking that keep them from enjoying deep, meaningful, trusting relationships. It is the underdeveloped coping skills that many of us take for granted that allow us to process the day-to-day stressors that another person is totally overwhelmed by. We could delve into the statistics that paint the picture of our county or country, but when you get right down to it, it's mostly about what are we going to do to help. If people are too worried about keeping up appearances, they are not seeking help. If they're worried about what their boss might say, if they need to take a mental health day, they might chug along at a slower pace, showing up for work, but underperforming. If parents dismiss their child's symptoms because they're just being manipulative, or the parent can't miss work because how would they explain that? The child suffers and underachieves and maybe even resigns themselves to believing they are just not smart, or lovable, or worthy. People need to know that there is help, and it's okay to seek it. It's okay to talk about it, just as you might discuss diabetes, or heart disease, or a broken leg. Your efforts today in supporting the Campaign to Change Direction initiative are to be celebrated as a step in the right direction. It lights the torch for us to bring light to those that are afraid to seek help. Let this be another step in making sure that Sussex County is not only perceived as, but is caring, compassionate, and understanding. Thank you for taking the time to make this a priority on your busy agenda and setting the stage for positive change. On behalf of the students that we serve and have served over the last 30 years in my program, in the School-Based Youth Services Program and the Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Initiative grants at Sussex Tech, we commend you, Freeholder Board, for making it okay to ask for help without shame or fear of judgment or repercussions.
My name is Steve Sonner. I'm the worst half. I'm from Stillwater. I just want to say I'm not in any committees or groups or anything, but I've listened to people's stories. And you talk about stigma and a proclamation. Will it do anything? I'm not so sure. But there's a perception out there about mental health. And what my concern is, people on this committee right here, you may have blood pressure issues, you may have diabetes, lupus, whatever. And the meds have been developed for all of you, and there's new ones coming out all the time. You have breast cancer, there's always new meds. Every year or two, there's something new coming out for any of you on this committee who need something, antibiotics, anything. Any of you know how long it took for mental health meds? How long it took to get new meds? Can you take a guess? You're allowed to say something. Any idea?
20 years.
40. It took 40 years for new meds to come out for depression, for psychosis, for bipolar. That's a shame, because nobody wants to put any money into mental health. They're quick to put for blood pressure. You see all these commercials and runs, 5K runs and everything else for breast cancer. But nobody does anything for mental health. That's sad that it took 40 years to develop new medications that would have less side effects on people than they did back in the 60s and 70s. Stigma, it's always going to be there. There's going to be people who don't like what a person looks like, or their size, or their shape. Hypertension, you have that, you have diabetes, it's accepted. But mental health is a long way off from being accepted by anybody. And I listen to the stories in here, and everybody hits a point, and tremendous points that you hit. You hit great points. I really respected your speech and everything. Everybody's put their little point. But you know what? You can talk all you want, and nothing's going to happen. You must not educate the public so much first. You need to educate the professionals. The people out there like yourself, the doctors, political people, you need to educate those people first. Because we're all the leaders. If you educate the leaders, there's a trickle-down effect. And then things will change. If you just start with the common people, you won't see a lot of change, in my opinion. But you need to educate all the professionals, people in the schools, the professional doctors, therapists, anybody. You need to educate them to have a better sensitivity to mental health. 50% of all internists, what they see, patients, have mental health issues. That's a lot. Your family doctor, 50% of them will see it, has some mental health component. So I think this is a start. Is it going to do a lot at this stage? Probably not. But if you can somehow start educating the professionals and those people out there, then I think there's hope for change. But 40 years for a brand new medication to help somebody, there's nobody on this committee here, Freeholder, that would ever accept that for a family member who had cancer, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, and you were giving them some medication from 40 years ago that wouldn't work as well as something from today. So I appreciate what you're doing, doing what you're doing. Everybody in here, keep doing what you're doing. I respect you all, and I wish you well.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice?
Motion to
We have a
close.
motion to close, second.
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Freeholder comments, Freeholder Patillo, would you like to start today?
I did attend the 100th anniversary for Corona Farms. It was really exciting. It was wonderful. There were 700 people. Air balloon, hot air balloon, and plenty of homemade donuts. But not just the food was delicious, but the people that actually came. It was a very interesting group, and it was wonderful to see people who were there to celebrate such a fine business and really to recognize how difficult it is in our world to have a family business that's in business for 100 years. That's quite a milestone. 5 generations. I actually taught some of the Avondale children when I was at Andover. Wonderful family. Congratulations. I'd like to speak on mental illness. My eldest son had mononucleosis in his freshman year of high school, but he never recovered. He became more and more ill, unable to attend school, fell into a very deep depression. 9 doctors later, they almost killed him because of misdiagnosis. But there were some points where he became suicidal that he would go outside, and I didn't know if he was going to come back and make it or not. One night he went out and never came back. And I called the Packard police and talk about being, feeling terrible, not just that you lost your son, but that you had the problem to begin with. And I tried to explain to him, look, I don't know where he is. He went out, he never does this. It was snowing out, he didn't have a jacket. I was hysterical, that don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. The next morning at 7 o'clock, I received a call from my son. He's actually at the corner store, and he says, Mom, I'm really cold. Will you come and get me? And I flew around him. I mean, it was just around the corner from me. And here I'm thinking the cops hadn't called me. They weren't looking for Michael. I had no idea, but they had Mike's picture. I flew around in my car, and as I'm shooting this way, the cop comes right in front of me. He caught Michael, and he shot right in front of me and grabbed Michael. And I thought, you know what? I didn't think the police were even looking for him. And here they were with the night crew with his picture, and they actually saw him before I got his attention. My son had a miraculous recovery. I mean, a supernatural recovery. The Lord had healed my son. He healed him the heart problem, which we finally found 9 years later when we went to Johns Hopkins University, and he healed his depression. He was unable to eat animal protein for years, and at some points I had to bring him to the hospital every other night for intravenous because the hospital would not bring him into the hospital because somebody had actually, one of the 9 doctors had diagnosed him with bulimia. He never had bulimia. He just couldn't hold food because it was the situation with his blood and his heart. Anyway, to make us keep going on, the Lord healed Michael. Michael is now a pastor in Colorado Springs, and he works with children who are suicidal. And there is no one better to speak to them than Michael, who went through it and knew what it was like to go through something like that. But I remember as a mother going to school, I got he had his own IEP. He couldn't go to school. I had a home tutor, but he would go for gym and for lunch. But the teachers would have to give me the homework, and I would bring it home. I was a certified teacher, so I brought other teachers in subjects I couldn't handle, but I actually tutored in high school. And I remember saying to one teacher, why is it so difficult for you to adjust the homework to fit the IEP? She said, because he doesn't look sick to me. And I almost wanted to cry. And I said, you have no idea the suffering that this child goes through because he can't function as other kids. You have no idea what he's going through. So on top of all the physical problems, on top of the mental problems, on top of the depression, on top of the bad no self-confidence, you want to give him homework that he can't possibly accomplish. To do what? And it would just go on, and the frustration for me was so much harder because I couldn't get certain teachers to work with me. On the other hand, there were many teachers that were so compassionate, whatever Mike can do, whatever he can accomplish, don't worry about it, we'll get him through. But on the other end was those that he has to perform. He's not capable of performing right now. And to put that pressure on a child that has an emotional problem or has mental illness, whatever you want to call it, is devastating. And it's devastating to the child, and it's devastating to the parents. And I applaud all of you for coming up and speaking about your children and your experiences and how it's affecting your family, because it affects your family, and everybody suffers. And I know as a parent just sobbing and being so depressed all the time because we couldn't get through it. And even now when I think about what he went through, he lost everything. He lost his high school years. He was depressed for 14 years. 14 years we went through that. And thank God he got healed. But that doesn't happen for everyone. And you're right about the medications. They gave him medications that just made it worse. They didn't work, and it just made it worse. And he wouldn't even take them anymore. So I understand what you're saying, and unless you really go through it, and unless you actually live with it, you really don't understand the depth of it. And I want to applaud Suzanne because I went to her class over at Botech, and I left there. I was so amazed at what you had accomplished, that these students that have so many serious issues were so free to talk about them. And not just talk about them and to share them to people that they don't know, but to explain how much better they are because of all of the things that you're doing and the counseling that's going on at that school. It was just an amazing day to see all the different issues that they spoke about so freely, so openly, and then talk about how because of what you're doing, they've been able to make it through, and they've been able to change, and they've been able to help others coming into the school with some problems. I never saw anything like that. And I just applaud you for that program because it is excellent. You know, so I just want to thank, I mean, I look at all of you here and I'm getting to know all of you here, and you're just amazing people that really have a heart to help others, and you have a personal understanding as to what the problems are and how people are suffering, and you're there to give of yourself to help others go through maybe easier than what you're going through. So this is a resolution, and you're right, it's a piece of paper and we're all making a statement, but it's a start. And it's a start. If you just look at our group here, how many people that we all know have a situation with mental illness. You really don't realize it. And so many people, as you said, they step out and they become behavioral problems or problems in school. My son was the opposite. He became invisible. He became introverted. If there were family issues going on, you'd have to really look to see Michael. He was there, but he never opened his mouth. He never spoke. He just kept all of his emotions inside, which is a different kind of problem that we're dealing with. I just thank you for coming, for speaking so freely, and for all that you're doing. You're doing a great job. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for sharing.
Real quick.
Yeah, thank you.
I was happy to read that Franklin Borough is joining a number of other communities that are considering LoSAP for their volunteer emergency responders. It's probably it's something that's going to go onto the ballot, and I hope that it's passed. I'm an old dog. I've been with the fire department since '78, so I won't be eligible for it. But Sussex County, probably the only part of every municipal budget probably has a 30 to 40-fold return, is whatever money that they allot to their volunteer emergency services. We have, as Carl knows, we have very talented squads, departments, but what's happened is what a lot of people don't realize is that the qualifications and the training that these local departments and squads hold have to match exactly what the same qualifications and training that the New York Fire Department has, and the hours that need to be put in. When I took firefighter 1, I think it was 60 hours. I think firefighter 1, Carl, now is 200 and some hours.
180.
Yeah, ridiculous. But what's happening is that I like for these towns to recognize the treasure that they have. Sussex County is still the only county in the whole state that is 100% volunteer emergency responders for every town. If one town had to hire one professional firefighter, there'd be no money left for anything else. And so what this LoSAP does is it provides existing active firemen a small monetary deferred benefit as long as they make their percentages, as long as they make a minimum level of the fire calls and drills. And the same thing, thankfully, for the rescue squads. I think that the rescue squads, I've been a firefighter, like I said, since '78. Sometimes the rescue squads in these municipalities have been second-class citizens. They haven't gotten the same funding as the fire department has. And yet they probably go to, Carl, 5 times as many calls. So I'm glad to see that this is being offered equally to the fire department and the rescue squad, and hope that Franklin and perhaps some other municipalities across the county in the future will follow suit, because the biggest thing that we need to be concerned right now, as far as the infrastructure and as far as the aggregate tax savings that we have across the county lies squarely with our volunteer emergency services. I had the opportunity to, for the second time in a couple of weeks, go over to the offices of the New Jersey State Fair. We know that the fair is going to be opening on August 4th. That's a week from this Friday. And they did a very intuitive thing by offering their first night for $1. I mean, some of the feedback that I've gotten over the last few years is that when you take your family to the state fair, it's almost like paying Disneyland rates, and that's not going to be the case. And actually, the idea came up through the Reif Snyder family. They're the ones that run the amusements there. I'm hearing there's going to be discounted food and discounted drinks. I hope the wine fizz is less than $6. Because I go through about 14 of them every week. But I think it's a tremendous idea to either introduce or to reintroduce patrons to the fair and hopefully make them come back again during the middle week. So I'd just like to put that out there and to mention everybody that that's a fantastic opportunity. And through through the influences of this board, notably the director, the county building is going to be set up maybe a little bit different, similar to what it was last year, but to draw people in by virtue of, look at what Sussex County is. So it's not going to be freeholder portraits hanging up. It's going to be what this county has to offer.
Life-size portraits.
Life-size portraits.
Oh,
no.
You took down the Acropolis?
From the neck up. Yeah, right. There's no more Acropolis there. But the most interesting thing is, too, when you're paying your dollar, it's going to be the hottest day of the year on that Friday night. Outside of the entrance to the county building, they put up like little Disney-esque misters. So you're going to feel great. You're going to want to walk in. It's cool on the inside, and you can see the veterans thing. You can see all the municipalities' individual historical displays in there. But we're doing it for the people that don't necessarily live within the county too. For those that come from the outside to the New Jersey State Fair, they can see why we're here, and that's going to be the theme thanks to the directors and things. I think that would be good. So, see you at the fair. Thank you. And you are what you drink.
I might want to get a drink of water first. I got a lot to say. Sorry. We'll start off with the easy stuff. I was very happy to be able to attend the Crescent Theater in Sussex Borough's 100th anniversary from July 24th of 1917 to July the 24th of 2007. You can't have a civilization without art, culture, and theater. And as much as we have to always complain about what everything costs, there are always people that go out and go the extra mile. And Mario Poggi, who is the historical, I just call him historical, I don't know, is he actually titled?
It's the town historian.
Town historian, okay, he's the town historical. He put a lot of effort into it, Rob Holloway, same thing, and many, many others, to keep that theater alive. It's gone through a lot of different lives in its 100 years, everything from the community center, but now it's back to a theater. And if anybody does see something that, keep your eyes open, they do live theater over there. Very impressed with them. 2, Health and Human Services. I have a lot to talk about on this one. Health and Human Services is something that we care very much about. When people ask us what is a freeholder, the difference between a freeholder and a councilman or a mayor or whatever it is, we handle all those things that are not handled on a municipal basis. All the discussion today about mental health all come under our title. And Health and Human Services, Carol Norbert, so ably handles a broad spectrum. First thing I want to point out, though, is in our audience, we have Carol and Cindy and Christine. We have Suzanne Sarno, who's not part of it, but she is part of HSAC. Not me, I always forget your first name.
Jerry.
These people who go above and beyond Yeah, they can do it on a paycheck, and they can go a 9 to 5, but these aren't 9 to 5 people. These are people who care. They care deeply. They care about things that other people don't think about. When you talk about stigma and you talk about education and that you should learn it from the top down, I spent approximately 60 years not knowing a damn thing about a lot of this stuff when it came to health and human services. And in the last couple of years, I've received an education that broadens and changes every day. And a lot of it has to do with the face of what it is, whether it be addiction, or whether it be mental health, or whether it be health services. I'm very proud of the team that we have. I'm very proud of what they do. I'm just going to give you an idea. Talk about the fair. On our division of health, which we have our former health director in the back, Herb Yardley, who was instrumental in putting together a lot of where we are today. On Monday, they're having cancer screenings. Tuesday, they're having tick bite prevention, and they're also having a bugs day.
The bug presentation, we're bringing bugs, correct?
We're bringing bugs. So if you're afraid of bugs, don't go there. I see Herb in the back, he says, I'm not going.
Yeah, bugs, bring 'em.
Herb's not sure. Herb, if you want to meet Herb, don't meet him on Tuesday, he doesn't like bugs. Sun safety prevention on Wednesday. Vaccines for older adults on Thursday, which is also Senior Citizens Day. Get that? Don't forget that. Again, tick bite prevention on Thursday, and hurricane preparedness on Friday. And you may think that we know something that you don't know. Maybe we do. We better show. We also, with our health services, we service every one of the towns in the community, in the county. We are doing conference calls on a regular basis. Our next conference call will be August the 2nd at 10 a.m. The conference call will include monthly announcements, special public health spotlight from the Office of Mosquito Control, and questions from the towns. This is for the municipal clerks, mayors, health departments, health boards, whoever may be the appropriate person in the town. And I'm going to ask Greg to individually call every single town tomorrow morning between 9 and 10. Make sure that this is heavily attended. There'll be a sign-in sheet. No, it's all done by phone call, so people don't have to come out of their community. But I want to thank those people who are there now and people who have been in there in the past that have worked very hard to bring that together. Mammography screenings. On August the 11th, 2017, from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., we have mammograms to be available to both uninsured and underinsured county residents, although residents who have comprehensive health care insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, are not eligible for this clinic. These are all up on our website. It's very important to understand. We try to fill in that gap between what everybody else gets and what some people say they can't get because of one reason or another. Division of Social Services events. We have our risk management has actually been conducting customer service training for our social services staff. If you really want an education, you have to go down to social services and sit there for a few hours periodically and find out all the conditions that we as people in this county encounter. And I'm not talking about employees, I'm talking about people who suddenly the rug has been pulled out from under them. People who have suddenly found themselves in difficulties. We were talking about health, mental health. We all have a story. I have a story. I have a brother-in-law who's 65 years old, living on the streets of Santa Monica, who's lost his family, and we don't know too much about him anymore. And the thing about it more than anything else is that we talk about young people who are experiencing this. What if suddenly you're at 45 years old and suddenly it all changes? Because that's what happened here. 20 years ago, it all changed. He lived in my house for quite a while. I couldn't tolerate it. Straight out honest, I could not tolerate it. I could not tolerate the behavior. I could not tolerate the destruction of my house. I could not tolerate anything about him. The sight of him just got under my nerves. But there was no way to him. And so it went on and on and on and on. And then suddenly he just picked up and left. No warning, no nothing. So it's not easy for those who are suffering, but it's not easy, as the young lady was saying, it's not easy being in the same room when somebody else is suffering, because you can't do anything. You don't think you can do anything. So what we're doing in terms of anti-stigma, if something can be done to bring somebody to assistance, we applaud that. within our Health and Human Services Department, we know that we are short of assets here. I think the Saunders probably can speak to that more than anybody, because they both have, I know this gentleman over here just doesn't want to talk about what his position is, but he knows. He knows. He knows what we have, he knows what we don't have, he knows what we deserve, and he knows we're not going to get it. But we're trying. We're trying. Suzanne, Christine, we've had meetings about how do we start pilot programs to do something a little bit better, whether it be transportation, whether it be somebody on the ground, something. Because if we don't get in front of things, particularly at young ages, we thought it was high school, now we're 5th grade, 4th grade, it keeps going backwards. If we don't do something, if we don't recognize it, if we don't identify it, it costs us more in the long run. For those people that are concerned about the mental health of people, it's a noble cause. To those who are trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it, it becomes even more expensive if we don't get in front of it. So it's very important for us to deal with it. And again, if these people over here that work for our county, if you think that they're making it on a 9-to-5 salary and that's all they're doing, then you're being myopic. Because I know, Christine over there, I know you think about this stuff at 2 in the morning, you gotta stop doing it. Because she texts me and she says, you screwed up the whole county. I'm sorry. We are going to be delivering a certificate of recognition to the County Clear program tomorrow. Very short of words, 1 year. Becky Carlson's in the back. It's not saying a whole lot, but something was sent to me. Do you mind if I read it? Okay. Our community, like the rest of the state of in our country, like the rest of the state in our country, is in the midst of an opiate use epidemic. In 2016, Sussex County had 36 overdose deaths due to heroin, prescription medications, and other drugs. That's up 44% since the previous year. 2 of those who died were only 17 years old, a tragedy that is difficult to comprehend in our rural caring community. Additionally, there were 87 overdoses where Narcan were used in an attempt to revive a person. A group of community stakeholders started meeting in November of 2015 to create and guide the work of CLEAR. This group still meets regularly to further the work of CLEAR in Sussex County. And a big portion of that, and I don't think his name is in here, is Chief Richards from Newton and Becky Carlson from Center for Prevention. The mission of the Sussex County Community Law Enforcement Addiction Recovery, CLEAR, program is to form a collaborative network of professionals in our community who will facilitate mental intervention, improve access to treatment and recovery support for those who are struggling with drug addiction, who seek assistance, without fear of arrest or prosecution, in order to make a positive difference in the quality of life for individuals, families, and our entire community. And this would not be possible without the cooperation of the individual police forces and our county prosecutor. Mr. Koch has been incredible in this whole thing. The Sussex County CLEAR program seeks to offer access to treatment and services for adults not currently in the criminal justice system and afford them the same opportunities for recovery by utilizing evidence-based practices and strategies. Since July the 18th of 2016, over 100, well, when I say over 147 people, we're going to say it's 148 people, have contacted CLEAR for information or assistance. 46 people have engaged in recovery coaching services with volunteers, certified peer recovery coaches, and 35 people have been assisted to access treatment. A total of 32 community members participated in a 30-hour training to become certified recovery coaches under the Center for Prevention and Counseling. The Newton Police Department officers were all trained to understand addiction and recovery, with their detectives serving as the officers screening and working with CLEAR participants who walk into the Newton Police station. So the point of it is that if you have an issue, you walk into the police station and they move you towards a direction for recovery. They don't lock you in irons and put you into the justice system. Plans are in the works to expand the program to the following police departments in our county: Andover Township, Byram Township, Bardstown Township, Sparta Township, and Vernon Township. CLEAR has been recognized by the Sussex County Chamber of Commerce in 2017 Chairman's Board. Additionally, Chief Richards and Becky Carlson were invited to a meeting at the White House's Office of National Drug Control Policy to discuss police-assisted community ventures from around the country. I want to thank you all for what you do. I want to, I always liken it to taking a coffee cup and trying to stop the Niagara Falls. But you continue doing it one coffee cup at a time. So I want to thank you very much for what you do, and I want to encourage you to continue to do it. Thank you.
Nothing, Mr. Director.
Souls words.
You may have seen that around the county, the roads and bridges are in process of being refurbished, resurfaced. We got held up on a couple of bridges. The Roseville Bridge is moving ahead on and getting onto schedule. Unfortunately, Ogdensburg Bridge, for which I received several phone calls, is on delay and may get done by October, and nobody's happy in Ogdensburg, and we're sorry about that, but we got delayed by the governor, and if you don't have it paid for, if it isn't there, you can't do it. So we got set behind on that, but we're catching up with it. I was fortunate enough to be at Coronas when they had their anniversary. It was an outstanding celebration, and true to form of the Coronas, if you didn't know it, that the event was a charity event. That the money that was raised from the tickets and the chefs from all over the world that came did this for charity, and the money goes to charity. So it was quite an event, and there were a lot of people there, and it was a very interesting and exciting thing. Yes, I remind you of the fair that's coming up. Enjoy it. I will be selfishly, insufferably, shamelessly advertising the Newton Rotary booth, where we have nice big fat bratwursts, and we'll be giving away a free iced tea, not $1 iced tea, with any purchase of a sandwich on Friday. So we'll make that. Yeah. See, we go beyond. Everybody in the room and everybody that you know has had to deal with a mental health issue. We all have a crisis in our life, whether it's a teenager in high school, gets involved in drinking, smoking, with the wrong crowd, college student who overindulges for 2 or 3 years, breakup of a family, eating disorder, marital problems. We all have some form of mental illness at some time in our life. We all deal with it differently. Some of us deal with it better than others, quicker, easier. Some of us need medications to help them. I'm fortunate to know a couple of people who are research chemists in the large pharmaceutical companies, and it's very difficult to come up with medications for mental health because you don't have mentally ill rabbits and mice and chickens to experiment on and see what happens. You're dealing with people, people's minds, people's mental health, their thinking process, their survival process, their coping mechanisms, the things that make them function in the world. And if one of those medications accidentally destroys a liver or a kidney, because they haven't been planning on it for that, it becomes a serious problem. So that the people that you test on are people. They're not rabbits and rats that don't matter in the scheme of things. They're people's lives are at stake. It's very difficult. As the gentleman mentioned, Thorazine was the standard for schizophrenia for years and years and years. There was nothing else. And I don't think it's so much that we don't want to do it, is that we didn't have a way to perfect it and make it work. It's a people illness, and it's a people cure. People cure people and help people. It's a very expensive illness to treat. Psychiatry, I probably shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. I'm notoriously putting my foot in my mouth. psychiatrist costs too much, $250 an hour or more. And a lot of times you sit there on the couch or in a chair and you don't know what to say, and you don't say anything. And then when it suddenly comes ready and you're ready to say something, okay, our time's up. And you're out the door. When I was studying, I happened to spend some time in this field. I had to do 400 hours of psychotherapy. As verbal as I am, I never said a lot for a lot of times. And when I got ready to talk, she'd say, "We're done for today." And I went, "Well, I'm just getting going. I'll have to remember it and do it next time." It's very frustrating. And the treatment for mental illness is very frustrating and very difficult. And it's up to communities and people and neighbors and friends to be supportive of people and help them get through their crises. And we all do it at some point. Breakup of a marriage, child gets sick. I remember my daughter went through an eating disorder period. And 25 kids in her class had an eating disorder. It's like an epidemic. What do? You watch your children waste away 70, 80 pounds. And you know, till one day you blow up and say, "You're going to start eating right now. You're going into the hospital." That gets transported or transferred to the grandparents, to the relatives. The whole family's affected. So it's not like getting a headache and taking two Excedrin and the headache goes away. And unfortunately, especially with depression, it's a long-term thing. It's a long time battling back, and it is a battling back from those positions. So I really appreciate you taking the time, effort, and energy to come here and share with us, and know that we are supportive. We're not unaware of what goes on. We are supportive of what you're doing and what goes on in the community and of the things that you do. And one of the most inspiring movies I ever watched was A Beautiful Mind. Unfortunately, they died an untimely death in an automobile accident. But even with his mental illness, this couple and this gentleman provided a host of knowledge and wealth to society, even in his struggle. So it's a battle, and it's a battle that goes on every day. And all of us deal with it one way or another. It's all of our families. It's something that's all around us. There is no stigma attached to it. Don't feel that way. It's a situation that you'll battle through, and if you reach down deep enough, you'll pull what you need out of the bag to survive. We've all been there one way or another. We'll all get through it one way or another. Keep up the good fight. Thank you for your efforts and your energy, and for sharing with us. That we do appreciate it very much. That's all I have. Anything else? Okay, consent agenda. Authorization for the freeholder director and clerk of the board to execute the modification of agreement attachment A with Catholic Family and Community Services for the provision of weekday and weekend home delivered meals for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total of $105,056. This is speaks for itself, providing meals to community services that be delivered to homes. Authorization for the freeholder director and clerk of the board to execute the modification of agreement attachment A with Legal Services of Northwest Jersey, Inc., Sussex County Division for the provision of legal assistance for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $33,968. Authorization for the freeholder director and clerk of the board to execute the modification of an agreement attachment A with ResCare New Jersey, Inc., DBA ResCare home care for the provisions of certified home health aid services for a period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017, for a total amount of $59,052. This is a program that assists seniors that are need assistance in their homes and their home health care. That's another very serious area of mental illness is senior citizens who struggle with the daily things that everybody else can very easily handle, and that's an issue that they have to struggle through. D, authorization for the Freeholder Director and Clerk of the Board to execute the modification of Agreement Attachment A with Sussex County Office of Transit Skylands Ride for the provision of senior transportation stop for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $92,848. This is for our Skyland Transit Ride buses. Authorization for the Freeholder Director and Clerk of the Board to execute the modification of an Agreement Attachment A for the provision of assisted transportation with Catholic Family and Community Services for a period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $28,236. Authorization for the Freeholder Director and Clerk of the Board to execute the modification of Agreement Attachment A, Newton Medical Center, for the provision of food service for the Congregate Nutrition Program for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $90,127. Authorization for the Freeholder Director and the Clerk of the Board to execute the modification of Agreement Attachment A with Newton Medical Center for the provision of food service for weekday and weekend home delivered meals for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $92,451. These are programs that are already in position, and they're being modified to be continued and to be funded. Authorization to the Freeholder Director and Clerk of the Board to execute a modification of an Agreement Attachment A with the Sussex County Division of Social Services for the provision of care management and outreach for the period of January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017 for a total amount of $36,564. Authorization from the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders to approve the Sussex County Department of Health and Human Services Division of Health Office of Mosquito Control Grant Agreement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for a 2017 County Mosquito Identification and Control CDC ELC Capacity Building Efforts Grant. This is to get rid of the mosquitoes. Authorization for the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders to approve a renewal application to the New Jersey Department of Health for the provision of local core capacity for public health emergency preparedness grant for the period of July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. Authorization to provide masonry repairs at the County Park Building, Ginny's House, Town of Newton, Sussex County. The authorizing the entry into a professional services agreement with Richard P. Cushing of Gebhardt Kiefer PC for the providing the special counsel services for pending litigation without competitive building as a professional service pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-51AI. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion.
I have a motion by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there a discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare?
Yes. Approval of the minutes, the regular meeting, July 12, 2017. Do I have a motion?
A motion the minutes.
I have a motion in the minutes by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Approval of the executive session minutes of July 12, 2017. Do I have a motion?
I'll move those minutes also.
Motion by Freeholder Graham and a second by Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Appointments and resignations. Have any of those? Resolutions. Resolution read, in support of the campaign to change direction. Initiative in Sussex County to raise awareness that there can be no health without mental health. Provide an effective way to eliminate stigma associated with mental illness and encourage those who are affected to seek their services and feel supported by their community. Do I have a motion? Motion by Freeholder Graham, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Patillo, is there discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Awards of contracts, change orders, and bids. A resolution reading award of a contract for purchase of two 2018 or current model year Freightliner SD or equal tandem axle truck chassis. This is a replacement for vehicles that have long since seen their life. Is there a motion? A motion by Freeholder Graham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Freeholder Patillo. Is there discussion?
Who was the winner of this bid?
This bid,
Robert Hoover and Sons.
Hoover?
Hoover.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
yes.
Freeholder Graham? Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes. Resolution to pay the bills A. Do I have a motion for paying the bills of A?
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion Freeholder Crab. Is there a second?
Second, bills.
Second for bills A by Freeholder Graham. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Rose?
Yes.
Excuse me, Freeholder Rose, you need to abstain.
Sorry, abstain.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes.
You're pushing.
That's it.
Just reminding you.
First mistake in a row.
Yeah, that's all. One mistake.
Oh, we got that over.
Resolution B, payment of bills.
Motion to pay the rest of the bills.
Second on the payment of the rest of the bills.
Motion by Freeholder Crab and a second by Freeholder Graham. Pay bills B. Is there discussion? Please call the roll.
Freeholder Crab?
What should I say?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Freeholder Graham?
I will vote yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Rose?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazaro?
Yes.
Thank you.
We gotta have some fun up here sometimes, you know, this really gets to be, you know, our mental health is important too.
Really, it was like the first thing on the I'm very impressed.
Resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the Intoxicated Driver Resource Center in the total amount of $22,517.59. A resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2016-17 Transportation Block Grant Contract TS 17019 for a total amount of $16,830. A resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2016-17 Social Services for the Home Grant Contract, number SH 17019 for a total amount of $86,347. Resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2017-18 Municipal Alliance to Prevent Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Letter of Agreement for a total amount of $210,366. A resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2017-18 State Health Insurance Assistance Program. SHIP Award number DOAS 17SHF005 for a total amount of $32,000. A resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the budget modification to incorporate the 2015 Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transportation Program, SCERTAP, otherwise known as Scattertap. Close out carryover funding for a period of January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2017, in the additional amount of $83,629.16. A resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2017 budget of the County of Sussex relating to the 2016-17 mosquito identification and control grant for a total amount of $3,857.91. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Freeholder Grant. Is there a second? Second by Freeholder Patel. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Trash.
Yes.
Freeholder Grant.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Rose.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare.
Yes. Personnel. Do we have a motion on personnel?
So moved.
A motion, Freeholder Crab. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Freeholder Rose. Is there discussion? Call the roll, please.
Freeholder Crab.
Yes.
Freeholder Grant.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Rose.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Lazare.
Yes. Administrative report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Freeholder Director. I have a couple of items. I was informed earlier today that CWA 1032 non-supervisory has ratified an agreement with the county. A resolution will be placed on the next Board of Chosen Freeholders agenda for your consideration. I'm pleased to announce that our Acting Division Director of Health, James McDonald, has recently passed the state examination to secure his license as health officer. It's important the public understand this is one of the most difficult licensing examinations that the state of New Jersey has, and Mr. McDonald has passed it and has done very well. So we congratulate him in having secured his health officer license. And to follow up on that, the Division of Health was recently awarded a Certificate of Achievement for the assessed standards and measures as evaluated by the State Department of Health. Congratulations to the Division of Health for their commitment to delivering and assuring the highest quality of public health services. It's very nice to see. Also, too, I was just advised this afternoon by the county engineer that the county has received a letter announcing the fiscal year 2018 annual state aid from the Department of Transportation, which will provide Sussex County with $5,057,931. This is funded through the Transportation Trust Fund. The county engineer points out that this allotment represents a 100% increase from the previous year's allotment. So that monies will now be evaluated by the Department of Engineering in the development of the fiscal year 2018 annual transportation program as part of the 2018 capital budget process. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. County Council?
Yeah, thank you. Just an update on Oprah's. The freeholders are aware there's a significant cost that the county incurs on a regular ongoing basis to comply with the Oprah statute, or the Open Public Records Act. There's direct costs related to complying with the statute, and then there's the indirect costs with regard to the time and resources spent in the county to comply with Oprah requests and litigation that may arise out of it. Those costs are both incurred by the direct entities or people responsible for Oprah, like the records custodians, council, and other parties that are involved in the responses, and then very often departments and divisions and the constitutional officers' offices are called upon to take their time and resources to comply with these requests. There have been several recent decisional cases that were decided that have greatly expanded Oprah. There were questions out there about what should be allowed to be produced or not, and that's going to result in even more significant costs and time and resources, and Oprah continuing to expand in this county and all over the state and evolve or blossom as a permanent cost and an increasing cost. Also, there are statutory amendments that are pending, and I think Administrator Pop forwarded you some materials from NJAC about that, that not only look to expand Oprah, but one of the things that's interesting in mine and other council and county and municipal officials' opinions, troubling is that the expansion seems to only look at the issue as one of public access without consideration for the costs. And it's not rational or doesn't make sense because it's the public that pays those costs. So on the one hand, the public should get access and people favor access, but there's this kind of mentality of like, the government's just trying to hide things. So let's more Oprah and let's give costs freely and have no regard for what this is costing municipalities and counties and the state. And it's the taxpayer who's paying those costs. So we don't see that the taxpayer is actually paying for this, and we may not be aware. In that regard, I'll be working on getting you some updates, hopefully succinct, and abstracts of the law and the statute, and tracing the development. But I'd like to suggest, and receive consent if there's no objection, to bringing you more regular updates, on a consistent basis of where we stand with Oprah in the county. We do keep a log in the Oprah that's answered by the clerk of the board, and we may be able to get them from the other records custodians with respect to the number of requests. We can start with that, and if there's a way to articulate the costs also, we can provide that to the board, so the board is aware, and in that regard, the public also. So if there's no objection, I'll be moving forward in that regard. And if you have any contours to it, certainly myself or Administrator Pop, who I would volunteer to help me in this project if he has no objection. He has a lot of experience with Oprah and a lot of good ideas that we can at least make sure it's on your radar, because you see the bills come in and you see the costs, and you may not be aware of all of them. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, finished business?
I have one thing. At their last meeting, our administrator brought up the fact that we were going to be receiving some information regarding SCUMA and a leche pipe. Mr. Plouffe and I both attended the SCUMA meeting last week, and it was tabled because there's more information that's coming on it. But I want to point out that I was absolutely proud of the actions that were taken by SCUMA. We live in a democracy, and it's a representative democracy, and there's a lot of different layers, a lot of different boards that are involved. We were talking about HSAC before. HSAC takes things and they're recommended up to the Freeholder board. Same thing with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. There's so many different committees. SCUMA is a separate utility, separate entity, but what they did was they discussed with the utmost of professionalism and utilizing what I consider to be a visionary approach to growth and economic development, to talk about aspects in front of them. That's what their purpose is. And for people to question whether or not something should be talked about in public, I think is a detriment. And for people to grandstand on a particular issue because it was discussed in public, I think is wrong. I know I'm speaking a little cryptically, but bottom line is this, is that open government is just what we're doing right here. There are times when we agree, there's times that we don't agree. And within that element of disagreement comes sometimes compromise, sometimes come better ideas. And I just want to applaud SCUMA for handling things in what I consider to be in the professional manner that we have up to now. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. New business? We have a letter of support for PennJack regarding opposition to county landfill gas to energy facilities legislation S771. I believe you all received that letter.
Yeah, what are they thinking? Oh, can we get to, sorry.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion. Is there a second?
I don't know that I can second.
Well, you want him to take our gas away?
No, it's SCUMA, so I don't know.
I'll second.
Okay, he seconds it.
Discussion?
Go ahead.
What the hell are they thinking? I mean, SCUMA has been burning off landfill gas since about 1998. And it was forward-thinking then. What it has is, at that time, I don't know if it's in the same configuration, but at that time, landfill gas was pumped out of the closed cells, all right, and put to an energy generation entity that they had at that time separate from SCUMA that burned the landfill gas to generate electricity to be put back onto the grid. And it consumes the landfill gas so that it doesn't go into the air and make people from Lafayette, smell things that they don't want to smell. It's been, now that the landfill has a business plan that's going to extend its life to beyond probably the time that we're going to be around there, the amount of landfill gas generated is going to grow probably exponentially. I mean, there was even talk, and I haven't been privy to the conversations recently, but there was conversation at one time when I was on the commissioner board to utilize that landfill gas locally to generate electricity to run the plant. And for something to come down suggesting that, I believe what this says is that they need to separate out landfill gas and they can't process it. It's got to be, we're already trucking out. What doesn't become like landfill gas comes from the leaching, okay? That's when all the rain comes through the landfill, it gets to the bottom, and with all the stuff that it goes through, it makes a combustible gas. What doesn't turn into gas, they drain off so it doesn't ooze out, and that's what they truck back and forth. That's what the pipe. But to take away the opportunity that this landfill gas provides, and it's easily measured value to come back, I think is just ludicrous. It's obviously proposed by people that don't have the situation in their county.
It's ill thought out, and I don't even know if it's going to get there to get a vote on it. But
we need to strongly
oppose this. Well, the letter that we prepared is a strong rejection of that. Anything else? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to support the letter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. There you go. Open public session from the floor. Second one. Please note everyone is asked to keep their comments 5 minutes or less. Please state your name, spell your last name, and state your municipal residency. And I have a motion to open the public session from the floor.
Motion to open.
Motion to open. And Freeholder Graham. Freeholder Graham. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Floor is open. Come on up. Had enough, huh? Motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Remember the fair, Planning Board Development Review meeting, August 7th at 3 p.m. August 9th, Freeholder meeting here. The Solid Waste Advisory Council meeting was postponed. Motion for adjournment?
Motion adjourned. I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.